Welcome everybody to the 5th episode. 5th? No, 4th. 5th? Whatever episode this is of the Culture Shock podcast.
It says 4 in the chat.
It says 4? Oh yeah, it is 4th. I do this a lot with the Arc of Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, Greg Alvarez, and joining me today we have Rackmaster.
Yo.
We got Mike.
Hello.
Joker.
Hello.
PJunk.
Howdy.
And GodofNerdiness.
Hello.
Alright. Today's topic, we have 90s cartoons. It was a topic that was brought up really early when we first started the Culture Shock podcast. I wanted to avoid it because I never watched cartoons as a kid because of my Spanish-speaking grandmother and her Spanish-speaking television. But it was constantly brought up, and so I said, what the hell? You know, I've been trying to watch cartoons for the past month, you know, trying to keep up, and so I have a good list down. And you're probably gonna all hate me from some of the shows I liked and disliked, but I think one of the more relevant shows to come out of the 90s, and it's still popular today, The Simpsons. And it has to be a show that I think we have to talk about first.
Didn't that actually come out of the 80s, or?
It was 1989, I believe, is when the first Simpsons aired. I'm not sure about that, but
The Simpsons actually started as a short on one of the late night shows.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it started in 1989, and then its popularity grew in the 90s. And it became a TV show that isn't that funny anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of people say it's not as good as it was.
It's an acquired taste.
Yeah, I enjoy The Simpsons.
It's also the longest running cartoon
In history. Yep.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's rumors going around that the show could be ending because the cast is making like $1 million. There's a huge amount of money for each show, and Fox told them that they had to get a pay cut, and they're all pissed at it. They don't want to get that pay cut, even though they're making like a bunch of money just off this one show. But I'm not sure how many.
Normal for voice actors.
Yeah, but I mean, did any of you watch The Simpsons? Because it was.
Oh yeah.
It was in the 90s. You know, it was on about 6, 7 o'clock.
Yeah. No, my older brother was way into The Simpsons, and like we would always watch it together. He has like, to a certain point, he has like all the DVDs, at least wherever he stopped watching. But,
yeah.
I probably have seen every episode on the DVDs that he has, like multiple times.
All right. Yeah, I think when Simpsons is one of those shows that I was able to catch because it was so late at night, and they would do reruns right after around 8 o'clock. Right after I stopped watching wrestling, I would go and watch TV with my brother, and he'd be watching The Simpsons. But yeah, it's really one of those shows that probably defined the 90s if you would look at cartoons, because not only was it it looked like a show garnered for kids, but a lot of adult humor.
Oh yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, mainly.
It's one of those family fun cartoons.
Yep.
Perfect mix.
I remember I wasn't allowed to watch it when it first came out because of the
Really?
Yeah. My parents were like, "Nope, you can't watch The Simpsons." This was when I was younger.
I had parents like that, but I don't think they had too much of a problem with The Simpsons. It was more like South Park levels that they seemed okay with.
Well, South Park was relatively new back then.
Mm-hmm.
But
I remember the first time I saw South Park, my dad told me to go to bed.
My parents would do that. They would be like, "Hey, are you supposed to be watching this? I don't think you are."
When did South Park come out?
Watching South Park.
1997?
Was it?
Yeah. Another one of those shows that really changed over the years. I mean...
Yeah. I didn't have Comedy Central back then, so I didn't really watch the beginnings of South Park.
I make the point that South Park has really changed to the point where I probably can't even watch it this generation of South Park.
I'm absolutely uninterested in it at this point.
I love the
I
old South
still
Park.
love it.
Go.
What?
Oh yeah.
No, that was it.
Oh okay.
I still love that show.
The older I was so into the older episodes of South Park, but you know I'd go back and look at it now. They're running out of fucking ideas.
Oh, definitely.
They're at the point where they're like, because I watched the
like, hey, what's new this week?
yeah I watched the documentary of how they make South Park. They literally make the next episode of South Park when the episode they just finished aired. Like
Yeah.
they don't do an entire season during the summer and then air it in the fall. Like what most shows do. I mean, I really, and it's easier for them to, keep track of all the, like, pop culture so they don't get lost in the mix.
Yeah.
But it also damages them for, quick thinking, and they have to get a show done by a specific day. And if they don't get it done, then, they're screwed. They don't, and so their shows come out a little weak. But...
The best episode of South Park is where Mickey Mouse abused the Jonas Brothers.
I think my favorite was the World of Warcraft episode.
That one was a good one, but another one I remember was when Cartman makes that kid eat his father, eat both of his.
Oh, dude. Okay, yeah. I changed. That's the best episode. That was like.
And then he finds out that it was his parents. Like
That's getting
in the
its own
later
video
episode.
game. So yeah, that's definitely the best one.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was one of the few ones that I did manage to see when I was still like kind of younger, or something like that. But man, that's like the definitive episode.
I mean, did you remember the reason? It's like you never saw Cartman's dad, and so they said, oh, his mom had like a vagina and a penis, and so she pretty much had sex with herself to have Cartman. That was the story behind it.
I know that.
And then they come up with this thing where the dad that Cartman killed and made the kid eat was actually his own dad.
Wait, like they continued the story.
Wait, where did they explain that?
There's an episode later on in the season where they say that.
Holy shit! I didn't think they would ever like reference it again.
Yeah.
Wasn't it a Clockwork Orange parody?
I think it was something like that. And that's when they're smart, but then they do episodes like the High School Musical thing.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, that one.
That was one of the more terrible episodes that they've done.
Or the episode where everybody's obsessed with going to Hot Topic.
Yeah.
I did like that one because
I hated
Twilight
that one.
was getting to the point where it was really annoying.
Yeah, I didn't care for that one too much.
Speaking of cartoons with some adult humor, show that I really liked that I couldn't stop watching when I brought it up and tried watching it over the internet, the Animaniacs.
Oh yeah.
Holy crap! Like I could see kids watching this and not catching these dirty jokes that they do. Mm-hmm. But there's YouTube videos that bring up a lot of dirty, nasty jokes that Animaniacs bring up.
Right.
Like
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I hated that show, and I still do.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't
hated
seen the show
Animaniacs.
much.
I hated Pinky and the Brain. I hated everything about that show. When we would watch it after school, I would go draw something because I just couldn't stand to watch that show.
When it was on, I did watch it and like it, but like I get maybe because like all that adult humor, whatever, passed over my head. It was just like I didn't consider it one of like the greatest cartoons. It wasn't really that significant to me. And then like I looked back on it and saw clips now that I was older, and it was like, wow, this was a great show.
And I look at YouTube videos and I see stuff that I didn't catch when I was watching the show, like them singing all the presidents, like a president song. Mm-hmm. Them going over all the presidents, them going over all the countries in the world, all the states and its capitals. Catchy songs. And they were smart about it, and I think their jokes and how they were able to present them were pinpoint perfect. Mm-hmm. In the way I look at it today. And then its spin-off show, which is Pinky and the Brain, a little bit more bland.
I think I don't even know how this makes any sense. I think I liked Pinky and the Brain more as a kid than Animaniacs.
Was it because of their love for world domination?
Probably.
I mean,
What
look at
else
the
would
nurse.
you want?
Look at the nurse that they created in the Animaniacs.
Yeah, Hello Nurse.
Yeah, again, they're trying to probably create something there, like the Hello Nurse meme or something like that, but it never caught on. But the nurse was like almost Jessica Rabbit, hot. It was very detailed girl that probably like your perfect image of a girl.
That reminds me of another cartoon. I'm pretty sure this would be 90s. Powerpuff Girls. Is that?
Powerpuff Girls was
It's on the
late
list.
90s.
Yeah. What's her name? Miss Bellum. There's another.
The redhead one.
Yeah, the one whose face you would never see except for like one episode.
Yeah. The Powerpuff Girls was I could probably understand. Did you guys watch it?
Oh yeah.
Yes, I did.
I loved Powerpuff Girls, and I still do.
I watch it every once in a while.
The best
character on there is Mojo Jojo.
I'm surprised that, I was thinking for a show, like that, like the Powerpuff Girls, you could, little boys wouldn't be watching that. Obviously it looked like a show more garnered, like Milo Pony, like we talked about in our first episode. It looked like more of a show garnered to boys than, to girls more than boys, but surprisingly boys would actually watch that.
It's only like, how do you explain what Powerpuff Girls? It's like everything about it looks like it's going to be a girly cartoon, but like when you get into the actual action of it,
Yeah, it had
like that is a very
other shows.
boy-friendly cartoon.
boy friendly.
Boyfriend, yeah.
If we're on the topic of Powerpuff Girls was on Cartoon Network, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How about we run down a couple Cartoon Network shows?
All right.
Let's start with Dexter's Laboratory.
Yes.
I looked at this show. It was okay. It didn't go on that long, did it?
Didn't it?
It had like 1 or 2 seasons, but they played them for years.
Yeah. Like maybe I guess they had the reruns for so long I didn't realize that there weren't that many episodes. Wasn't there like a weird place where it just had like a huge jump in animation quality, and then that was when it also
A lot of shows do that, yeah.
Right, but it's like I figured it had to last a little longer than I would have thought. I don't know. But as a kid, yeah, I watched it, liked it, but never really. A lot of people like praise the hell out of it. I don't know. I never thought it was like the best. It was. Just,
I'm pretty sure
okay.
I've seen every episode because I watched it every day, but I can only remember 3 episodes. One is where they replay the same sound effect over and over.
What?
It was made to be the annoying episode of that series.
Okay.
Like, Mandark would just laugh the entire time, and
Oh, I know what you're talking
Dexter
about.
yeah, press a button for like 10 minutes.
Right.
It was that episode.
That was
And
a
I
weird
remember
episode.
I remember one with Bigfoot, and he fell in love with Dee Dee, and
I
then
remember that one.
the dodgeball episode where he builds like the machine. That was like the first episode. And he builds the robot.
I'd have to say the most memorable episode is Omelette du Fromage.
Omelette du fromage. Yeah, I remember that one.
That's I don't know. If I think of Dexter, that's probably the first episode that comes to my head.
Which is the one where he goes insane and he's putting on makeup.
I don't remember that. I know I can recall like that scene, but I don't know what episode it was.
The worst part of Dexter's Laboratory was the cartoon in the middle with the monkey.
Oh, Dial M for Monkey.
Yeah, I hated that so much.
It was all right.
I wasn't too crazy about the monkey episodes.
You don't know what it was, Jesse?
What is it?
It was Dexter had a pet monkey in his laboratory, and Mandark had like a duck, and like they would fight. Or well, the monkey would have its own thing where it was like secretly it had like superpowers and it would fight crime or something. And then at some point, Mandark's duck was like one of the villains that it would fight against.
That sounds familiar, but I can't picture it in my head.
And it was like Dexter had no idea that his monkey had powers.
No, eventually he found out when
did he?
the family come together and was in that robot, I think, and they were fighting somebody.
I kind of remember that.
And Monkey
Yeah. See, I
made
remember
appearance. It was the one where Mandark took all the credit for defeating the monster or something when the family was in the robot. I was like, my monkey has superpowers.
And another memorable one is, what was it, Professor Hawk?
Okay, I think I do remember.
That's Professor Hawk. Shooby-dooby-doo.
Oh yeah, I remember that episode now. One episode I remember is the episode when Dexter had chicken pox.
Oh.
He was trying to not scratch, so he ends up taping himself to one of his own machines, and then he ends up getting loose and continues to scratch himself, and then he turns into a chicken.
Oh, right.
What about the one where Dexter's dad arm wrestles that guy, and then Dexter has to build him a robot arm so he can be...
I remember that.
Oh yeah. That was a good one.
That was one of the episodes I've watched.
I think there was one where Dee Dee became a mermaid, and it was all at the beach, but I don't remember that one much.
Oh, wait, wasn't there one where they flushed some sort of, like, a dead goldfish or something down the
Yes,
toilet
there
and
was.
it came back?
Giant fish.
Yeah.
Because it lived in the sewers. Yeah.
That was a weird one. But what was, like, the memorable, like, recurring jokes of the series? Like, you know, Dee Dee would pushing the buttons. Was there something else? Like...
I can't remember much.
I mean, it was always something about, you know, like, Dexter trying to get her out of his lab.
I think that was the main joke throughout the entire...
Right.
the entire cartoon was, Dee Dee wasn't allowed and they always found out. And I believe there was an episode where the parents found out, but then they forgot about it.
He erased their
that-
memories.
That's what happened.
Yeah. But I guess let's move on from Dexter's now. There was another show that kind of, revolves, had a short season, but a lot of people remember Johnny Bravo.
See,
Oh yeah.
my grandma even liked Johnny Bravo. We would watch that together. She loved that show.
Your
I
grandma
thought it was
awesome.
okay. I thought it was okay, and now I really don't care about it. I don't know.
Yeah, if I probably watched it now, I wouldn't like it. But back then,
How could you not like Johnny Bravo? He was the
I
ultimate ladies'
I
man.
really don't get why people love it so much. Like,
She just felt
It
sorry
felt
for
like
her.
there wasn't any structure to the entire thing. I felt like when I was watching it, there wasn't enough going on. Same thing with my argument with Doug or Ed and Eddy. It felt like, that there was things there to use, but they never used them.
yeah,
There were so many jokes that they could use, but they never, hit that mark on it. They never did. Oh, that would be brilliant, but they never
like
did that.
there were little things in Johnny Bravo that, when I think about it, like I appreciate, like it's more like the side characters sort of who would the recurring ones. They were kind of like, they kind of got developed in an interesting way.
Yeah.
But the show itself was just sort of like, I don't know, I just got tired of watching every episode and going, oh, okay, he got, turned down by that girl too. But whatever.
It felt the show started getting a little long and stale.
The best episode was the Christmas episode.
I don't remember.
If you guys ever watched the Christmas episode?
Is it the one with Donny Osmond?
Oh,
Yeah.
I kind of remember that. Doesn't he actually fight Santa or something weird like that?
I honestly don't remember. It came on this past year, but I can't remember it.
I just had some memory of Johnny Bravo meeting Santa Claus and something happened. I don't know.
Okay, I guess more of the Cartoon Network Cow and Chicken.
That was a
God.
really weird one, but I
didn't like that.
I mean,
The
I
show
don't
made
know.
absolutely no sense.
I think it's one of those shows where, if it was something that came on now and, I didn't know about it before, I would be like, this is the stupidest fucking thing they have ever put on TV. Why would anyone watch this? But just because I did see it as a kid, I appreciate that was a part of my childhood.
Yeah.
It had such weird humor to it, and I don't understand, why anyone would have liked it, but somehow it worked. Fucking pork butts and taters. I still reference that sometimes.
But
somehow
were they shorts or were they actually full episodes? I can't remember that.
They were episodes, but there was a second.
They had
like
also had the I Am Weasel.
IR Weasel, I Am Weasel, IR Baboon.
I hated that so much.
Yeah.
Oh god.
That was extremely annoying.
Yeah.
Those were whatever, and then I think they actually like tried to separate that and give it its own series, and that was bad.
They did.
No one
It
gave a
sucked.
shit about that.
I see that show the same way I see Ren and Stimpy, where
About right.
it was
Except
a
it's
little
less-
it was a little too foul and disgusting for what I liked, but at least with Cow and Chicken I could watch it.
Yeah,
Ren and Snippy I just could not watch.
that's pretty much how I see it. Cow and Chicken is the tamer Ren and Stimpy.
I actually liked Ren and Stimpy.
I liked it as a kid. When I think about it now, it's kind of like, again, why did I like this? Like,
Yeah.
The only Ren and Stimpy I can recall watching are the ones that came on Spike TV.
The ones on Spike,
Yeah.
wasn't the ones on Spike TV? Those were the more adult versions
Yeah, those
of
are
it.
adult versions.
I still
Yeah.
remember a lot of Ren and Stimpy though, so I mean, it was significant and memorable. Just I don't know, it's not really something that I feel like I should have watched. It was,
Yeah.
I remember stuff. I remember Powdered Toast Man. I remember friggin' Log. That was stuck in my head for the longest time. There was like an episode about, or maybe there were just multiple references to like Pink Eye.
Don't forget the Happy Happy Joy Joy song.
Oh yeah, of course, Happy Happy. That's like the
Yes.
that's the definitive thing that Ren and Stimpy contributed to the world. Happy Happy Joy Joy.
Greatest episode ever.
Oh, that, and I think this was like the reason why I realized like when I looked back on the show that like it was fucked up. The Space Madness episode. That
Space.
where he starts eating his bar of soap. Like, because I had a friend in high school, and he was like the king of quoting old 90s shows, and he would do that to me like just to bug me, even when it, like with Ren and Stimpy, because like that scene disgusted me. It was like he's like they're in space, and he was taking a bath, but then like the bath water starts floating while he's still in it. So he's just like floating around the ship in like this rectangle of water, and it was Ren, and Stimpy's like noticing that there's something up, and he's trying to talk to him, and he's like clutching this bar of soap, and he's like you can't have my ice cream bar. Just
That's a really good impression.
That's a really good. I'm about to say that.
I don't know, but he takes, it's like the most excruciating scene. He has that fucking bar of soap, and he's like just chomping. He's taking out huge chunks of it and just eating it in front of in front of Stimpy. And Stimpy's just like, "You're talking crazy, man." Like,
Dude, you do some great impressions of that. I can't believe it.
You mean the episode where the family had Stimpy literally try to eat Ren? Didn't creep you out?
I don't remember that.
I remember that? He became a family dog, and they thought Ren was a mouse or something.
Oh, okay. I kind of remember.
And they found him, and they made Stimpy try to literally eat him. And they showed it inside his mouth. They saw his teeth grinding against Ren's head.
Yeah, there were a lot of like, gross out scenes in that fucking show. Like, there was another one where I don't even know what the context was anymore, but it's just there's a scene of Ren pulling out his teeth, or no, not the teeth. His teeth already fell out. He's pulling out the nerve endings.
Oh, I remember that.
And
Because
it's-
the nerve theory or something like that.
It was just like, I don't care how old you are or what. It's just like, this is a cartoon and you're watching this, like, it's the most painful looking thing. What else was there? Like I said, like, all the pink eye stuff, like, that was just disgusting to look at. I think there was an episode where, Stimpy ends up in his own belly button. I don't know.
What?
There was, like, something in his belly button. Some, like, thing living in there, and that was, like, the episode was centering around that. And so it somehow ends with him just going into his own belly button, and like you just see like there's like this little fucking, I don't know, nubbin just left on the ground, which is like the it's like just a belly button just there.
That sounds like it would.
And then it's weirder. It gets weirder because I think the episode ended with someone eating it, and I don't know what to make. It was a fucked up show.
Yeah. I guess if we move on, Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yes.
We had a discussion.
Yes.
There was a discussion of this show, first of all, on the 4-player podcast forums. Someone brought up, they're bringing back Courage the Cowardly Dog, when obviously, it was not going to happen.
It's not real.
And I got into an argument with Shiloh, which led to him being stupid. But
An argument has to lead to that?
but Courage the Cowardly Dog was another absolute unique cartoon, and another
That
one
was
I
my favorite.
really enjoyed.
I love that show.
That was my favorite Cartoon Network show.
It was like, as a kid, I did like it, but I didn't think of it as great, and like, it got to a point where I was sort of getting tired of it. But once it was gone, I realized like how good it was, and I missed it a lot. That was a really good show.
Yeah. Really crazy visuals throughout the entire thing.
Oh, yeah.
I think that show is what got me into like the dark humor I have now. Because that show used to scare me, but I still watched it, and I think that's why.
I don't know if
am
any
the-
episode actually scared me for real.
The cat thing is what scared me. I don't remember his name.
Cats.
Cats. That.
I love his like theme song or whatever. That I wish that would play when I enter a room. That was cool stuff. I think he was one of my favorite characters actually. He was like just out of everyone was like such a wacky cartoony villain, but he was just like this really he was really clever and like devious. It was interesting. What would be like the definitive episode though, if you can think of one?
I would say Eustace eating the egg.
Thank you, Smash Mouth.
Smash Mouth.
Oh god. I remember that. That was the pilot episode, wasn't it?
I don't know which episode you're talking about actually. Eating the egg?
I think he's talking about Chicken from Outer Space.
Yeah, it was alien chicken.
it?
It laid an egg. Muriel made an omelet or an egg or something, and he ate it, and then he started getting sick, and he started getting like chicken pox or something.
Okay. The pilot episode definitely is. That's one thing that I think deserves mention. That the pilot episode is actually a memorable one. A lot of shows don't have that. But they even like referenced it again. Like there's like 1 or 2 more appearances of that whole.
Yeah, the chicken comes back in like 2 more episodes.
There was like its mom, and it had like a.
Yeah, I remember that.
One or something. It was weird stuff, but it was cool. Oh, well, I thought I had an episode in mind though. Oh, I don't know why this one. The what were they called? It was like the foot fungus. Do you remember that? And they were like gangsters.
Yes, I love that episode.
That was a cool episode, but it also had like one of the most disgusting, and he had to like lick it off. And that was it. He just kept licking that giant fungusy foot, and then it turns out that like the gangster is on his tongue.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, best character on Courage actually. The
The
computer.
old man.
I'm saying the computer.
The computer.
Because he would always be like a point in the episode where Courage goes onto the computer and he's just like typing out like help, 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 and it would just like give like smart ass replies for what.
Oh
he's
yes. I
remember that,
do
yeah.
remember that.
And then there was the one episode where the computer becomes like sentient and like takes over Muriel's body and starts doing like Daredevil stuff. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Courage the Cowardly Dog is probably one of the strongest of that series. I mean, when I look back, when I was watching all these cartoons, I think Courage the Cowardly Dog was probably at the super top of one of my favorites that I missed. And then at the very, very bottom of the list, ones that I'm glad I probably missed. A show that is probably going to piss off some of you. No, it's gonna piss off a bunch of people who are probably listening this far into this. Edda and Eddy.
You, get out.
Fuck you.
I cannot stand that show.
Why can't you stand it?
Nothing
I don't
happens.
I don't even think of it as a show that you needed to grow up with, like Hey Arnold or Doug. It's just sort of like funny. I don't know why you don't like it. Yeah. It's very wacky slapstick stuff. Good.
I found it not funny. I found it not wacky. I found it nothing.
What?
At the end of the show, they're always chasing that jawbreakers.
They're really not. That's like, I don't know how you keep saying that that's the only thing that happens.
Because I found that come up most of the times.
I mean, yeah, the majority of the episodes are, yeah.
Are them, you know...
It's them trying to scam the other kids out of their money so they can buy jawbreakers. But, like...
You know, after a while, that joke gets old, and I felt
like
I kept on running into that over and over again.
See, but the thing is, like, the jawbreakers and whatever, that wasn't really... It was, like... The scams that they would come up with were just so wacky. Like, that was what the episodes were always about. It was just whatever weird shit come up with. Like, Double D would build some crazy... technology out of friggin' cardboard boxes and wires, and then, you know, you just have them like dressing up as all these weird things, trying to scam everyone. And
How could you hate Ed's retardation?
yeah,
I found that annoying. I could not stand that.
He's hilarious. How could you hate that?
Characters are so likable.
No, I found a lot of those characters unlikable.
You got the goody good, the goofball, and the troublemaker.
The wise ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then you got all the friends.
And not even that, yeah, like the side characters, all the, just they felt.
The annoying little sister, her gay friend, the foreign kid,
Rolf.
the cool guy who would always bully them, the hot chick, Johnny, what the fuck he is. There's no word for Johnny.
And Plank.
The weird kid.
Plank.
And Plank, yeah, best character. Yeah. Great voice acting.
Yes. The only character in the show to have no line whatsoever.
Oh, one of my favorite things about Ed, Edd and Eddy, and I don't know, some people might, maybe it's just like a thing they did out of laziness, but like, I always found it funny, was they would recycle lines from one episode and use it as like background chatter in another episode. And one of the ones I always remember is like...
That sounds like just you know, they can't afford anything, so they're gonna recycle old audio.
It's like whatever they were saying in the background didn't matter, and that's why they didn't want to record anything new. And it was just like, one of the lines I remember was, is that a giant clam? And that was like, you know, there's an episode where that happens. Like, I think Rolf pulls out a giant clam and tells everyone to hide inside of it.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
But then in some completely unrelated episode, like you just see, you know, like the Eds are walking in and they're probably going to start up some new thing, and you know, as they're walking in, the only line you hear is Kevin talking to someone who's like, "Is that a giant clam?" Like, why the fuck is he talking about that again? I just thought that was funny.
I remember one episode when they made a stink bomb.
Oh yeah, that was a good episode. Shit got huge.
I watched an episode the other day where Eddy kept harping up his brother coming home.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah, his brother was like the coolest guy.
Yeah.
It was like, he was like the coolest guy, or people were afraid of him. It was like the weirdest thing.
Yeah. And at the end of it happened to be Ed's annoying sister and the gay kid.
Remember the Canadian squirt gun?
Yes, that was a very good episode. What was it? They like squirted them with.
It's stuff like that. I mean, I don't feel like a good episode is just, you know, hyping up a dude coming home. You know.
No, that's not. It was like.
It was the idea of installing fear.
It was a lie. That was the thing. Like, you found out at some point in the episode, like, Eddy had been lying the entire time. He was just doing it so that the kids would respect him, but, you know, it was all the, you know, they were trying to warn him, like, you know, that's not what respect is, and he was just, that's just what Eddy is. He's like a fucking idiot, and he wants kids to give him shit, and he doesn't understand how to do that, how to be liked. But, I don't know how to explain it, like, just like the reactions of all the other kids, it would make you wonder, like, what the fuck is Eddy's brother like? and then it just ends with like you said, it was like Jimmy and Sarah. They just like they pretend to be Eddie's brother. Like they somehow managed to pull off a disguise, and like they knock on Eddie's door and like have him go make them some ice cream or some shit.
Yeah, and then Ed comes in and goes, "What kind do you want?" And Sarah's like, "Whatever."
Yeah, they're out of the costume, and like it's very obviously his sister and her friend just standing there, and he doesn't even fucking notice because she does the voice. She's just like, chocolate.
Yeah.
With lots of nuts.
Yeah. Ed was just an idiot. And the three worst characters on there were the three sisters.
Canker sisters.
Yeah.
Oh, those are I
they
felt
were
they were the worst
rapists.
of the entire series.
Like
Not only were they rapists, they abducted the guys.
and they looked like they were significantly older than the Eds too. I don't
Yeah.
think
they were like high schoolers.
I think they all were high schoolers though. It's because I think that's where the show started getting kind of shitty, where like they actually went back to school. That was where like the animation went up, and it was just like, what the fuck's this show about now? It definitely stopped being about like scams at that point. But yeah.
Okay, I guess another show. I guess we could move on to the biggest of the cartoon programming, Nickelodeon. You want to start out with a specific topic? Is there a specific show on Nickelodeon?
When you forgot to put down Kablam.
Kablam was Cartoon Network. I mean, Nickelodeon.
I never even heard of that.
Really?
Really?
Wasn't Kablam the one with the dolls? Yes, it was, right?
That was one
Kablam
of the
was.
shows.
How do you even describe that?
That was. I think you're thinking of Action League now.
Yeah, that's that. Okay.
Oh, I remember Action League now. Okay.
That was
Yeah.
it was the same show.
Yeah.
okay.
That still comes on occasionally, at 2:30 in the morning on the weekends.
Really?
Yeah, I've caught a few episodes every now and again.
Shit. Yeah. Action League now. That was probably the best of Kablam, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
What other stuff did they have? Was it just like random shorts? Is that what it
Actually,
was?
my favorite was Prometheus and Bob.
Oh, Prometheus, those were good too.
That was my-
Okay. I watched that one. Because one of my friends told me about it. It's like, you gotta check it out. It's a small short thing, and it's really neat. I liked it, and I watched it. Yeah, it's simple, but there was a purpose for it. Everything. They had a goal, and they went out to go do that goal. It wasn't like all over the place. It was really simple, short, and it just seemed all around great when I
It
saw
was
it.
kind of like the short before a Pixar movie, but it kept going.
Yeah.
And I liked that. It was like there was a simple goal, they accomplished it, it was funny, you had a nice laugh, you felt good, but then you got to see it again next week.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was funny, like, you'd watch them, like, with every new episode, and it was just like, oh, these are getting, like you would expect it to get really predictable at a certain point, but it's like, no, these are getting weirder and weirder, like, I can't believe what the fuck's going on.
I remember I got so into that show, I was trying to figure out what language that was, I was trying to
I think
learn
I tried to do that too.
Was that even a real language?
They had their own alphabet at the beginning
did
of
they?
the show.
Oh,
Well, I don't know
wow.
if it was their own alphabet, but there were some symbols, and I tried to figure out what each word was.
Since we watched that Digimon movie recently, Jesse, was
Yes.
Angela Anaconda also a Kablam thing, or was that separate?
No, Angela Anaconda was a thing for, Fox Kids.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Fox Kids.
That's weird.
Sorry for the interruption, guys. My internet's been poop. Yeah, fucking PJunk is hacking my internet right now.
That's what I do.
Like a bitch.
Like in that
Mac-
movie, what was it called? Gamer? Yeah, that's the one.
Gamer? Oh, that was a fucking terrible movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
No one's arguing that.
Anyway.
So, what cartoon do we
Well,
start
we're
off?
gonna... I don't know where it cut, so we're just gonna start talking about Nickelodeon cartoons.
Alright, let's do like Angry Beavers.
Angry Beavers? Okay.
That was a good ass show.
It was a what?
It was a good ass show.
You thought it was good? You thought it was a pretty good show?
Yeah, it was really funny.
I can't remember much of Angry Beavers.
I can remember a decent amount.
I can remember, you know, the two beavers, but I can't remember anybody else from that show.
Another character you should remember is I don't remember if it had a name, but there was a stump, and it was kind of like Plank from Ed, Edd and Eddy. It was just,
yeah.
Yep, it was just a stump with like a face carved into it, and I guess we assumed it was sentient somehow, but it never like appeared to be doing anything unless it was off screen. I'm trying to think of like significant episodes. There was the one where like they had watched a horror movie, The Crawling Plane, was it? Something like that? I don't think it was The Crawling. It was something like that. But yeah, and then like the entire night they're hearing noises and thinking that was it. And then was that also the one where like they realized their clock was messed up and they realized it's like the future?
I'm back.
That sounds like an episode of that SpongeBob one where they go into the future.
No, this one was like a really weird, like it came out of nowhere that they were, for some reason they were waiting for the clock to hit a certain time, and then they realized there was something wrong, like it wasn't plugged in or something, and they're like, how long have we been waiting? And then they open the door and it's like, just the world has become the future, all while they thought they were staying up for like a night.
I don't remember that one.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Podcast canceled.
PJunk fucking bringing up shit that we don't know about, so.
I don't know. Do you guys remember any other episodes?
I remember one where they have to, like, beavers have to chew on wood or whatever to keep their teeth from growing. And I remember one of them let their teeth get so long that it was like curling around or something.
Right.
I don't remember much.
I think it ended up happening to both of them, but what was? I
remember that, and I remember one where he gets a splinter, but it's like the entire tree.
Right.
Wow.
Oh, there was the like stinky toe or something. Like he had some disease that just gives him a like toe that's like smells like trash. It's and like it, you know, fucking kills everyone. So they put him on like. Well, they kept trying to do like experiments to fix it, but they couldn't find a cure. So all the people who had that stinky toe disease were like shipped over to some island. But then, and I think it was
I remember that.
I think it was Norbert who had it, and then Daggett goes and like performs his own experiments and actually finds some cure. It was it's a hard show to like describe why it was so good in words. You just sort of have to watch it.
Am I the only one that sees the resemblance of the Angry Beavers to the Wilson brothers, Luke and Owen?
Oh, no, that's like... They
That's a
are
thing.
clearly based off of them. No, I don't know if it's a thing.
They're like, he was so good in Drill Bit Taylor, we're going to make a show about the
in Drill Bit
Beavers.
Taylor in the future that we have to show now. He's going to be so good in Drill Bit Taylor. I gotta go take care of something.
I guess something that another show that would be the one of the worst terrible shows. Like it would be down there with Doug and Eddy in my standards. If it didn't have unique characters like it does. Rocko's Modern Life.
Get out.
Get out right now.
Podcast canceled.
I was going to bring this up during the Ren and Stimpy thing. That show was I love the adult humor in that show.
No, that's what I'm saying. The show.
You said it was bad.
If it didn't have the unique characters, Rocko. I'm not okay. I heard rumors that Rocko was a chick.
No, he was a dude.
He was into a kangaroo or something.
I think wasn't he a wallaby or something?
I'm saying he was a wallaby, but he had a crush on like a cat or a kangaroo, some chick.
Okay, but anyways. The show seemed so much like a lot funnier with these unique characters. But if they were just an entire show of wallabies, it would be much different. It would be so boring. But you had these variety of different characters. I think it's what made the show memorable to me.
Yeah, I had a cow that was raised by a family of wolves.
I got a question though. Today, do you think those shows would be able to make it on Nickelodeon
No.
or any other channel?
No.
Any other channel in general?
It needs awkward humor like Adventure Time and the regular show or whatever it is. Because the only way for those shows to be popular is if you're like a hipster.
These shows, all these cartoons seem to have like a nice structure to them. Adventure Time and the other one seem to just be cornered to people with ADHD.
Wow.
Topics change, shit comes out of places it shouldn't be coming out of. These
like
shows,
as random
even
as they can.
Yeah,
Which
these
show?
shows aren't random. They're
Adventure Time.
and the rest of them. They're more garnered to, people with ADHD, but, these shows, yeah, sure, they're a little weird at sometimes, but all around, you could understand what's going on. I always bring up the clip from, I can't remember what, Adventure Time or another one, like a big coffee bean has nipples and he squirts out coffee out of his nipples or something like that, and they dance and it's a big montage for like 10 minutes of them dancing with this, something like that.
Regular show.
Or it's either the regular show or something like that.
Okay, if it's regular show, then yeah, I fucking hate regular show.
Same. I like Adventure Time, hate regular show.
I love it. I think Adventure Time's the best thing on right now.
I agree. It's the only,
That's a discussion for another episode.
No.
I can't even watch SpongeBob anymore because of how random it's gotten.
Is SpongeBob still going on?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Oh.
It really needs to stop.
What the fuck is this?
It's like the one true last Nicktoon that's still going.
Yeah.
Oh. God.
What are you watching?
Are you alright there?
Pearl Street going crazy? What's going on?
I'll tell you guys later. Anyways.
Are you getting shot at?
No,
in your life?
If you heard me getting shot, you would hear me going into my closet and getting my 22. Because I've had gangs run through my neighborhood and scare the living hell out of me. It's the reason why. It's the first reason why I bought a gun.
I thought you were going to say run through my house.
No. There was a day. It was about 3 years ago. It's the reason why I bought a gun. There was a drive-by shooting. There were some guys walking down my street, and then pretty much, literally, next door is where the dude got shot, and he dropped dead on the sidewalk. And I heard the gunshots from my room. I ran outside. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, I shouldn't be outside, so I slammed the door and I walked in.
This was your first problem. You ran outside in the middle of a gunfight.
I did it during one of our calls for the Arc of Wrestling. There were some gunshots, and I accidentally ran outside to go check what it was.
Like, oh, what's this gunshot? We run outside and take a look.
It was a shooting. It was a shooting down the block. Really
and
close
by the
to
way,
me.
if you're running into your closet, you're probably gonna stay there till they're done. Putting that out.
I literally, from where I'm sitting right now, my gun is about 7 feet away from me.
Okay.
Well, that's 6 feet too far away. It could happen any time.
Yeah. Okay, we're getting off topic. Let's go back. Rugrats.
Oh, we talked about this 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Well, yeah, but we got cut
We
off.
didn't go
and
into it.
I love Rugrats.
Yeah.
That was definitely a show I grew up with. It was... I don't really know what to say about Rugrats. It's very...
Instead of gangs
weird
and
show.
violence, let's talk about Rugrats.
It's the same thing. It was a pretty smooth transition.
Subliminal messages in Rugrats.
Yeah.
Relating
You know, he's like, yo, I'm Tommy Pickles, blap, blap. That was like... He said that in an episode. That was like episode 12,
Yeah.
I think.
Like it started off with it was really zoomed in on a gun.
I forgot it. Yeah, that's right. Every episode starts off zoomed in on something.
Isn't it zooms on something that that looks like something, but when it zooms out, it's not really what you think it is?
Yeah.
Like
Or sometimes
there's one.
It just doesn't look like anything.
There's one I remember where it's zoomed in the dog's mouth.
Yep, that's the one
And it's
everyone
like,
else talks about.
and it zooms
Yeah,
out.
what the
I'm like,
fuck?
oh fuck, dude, I thought it was something. I swear.
I just want to say they watered it down. After like 6 seasons, they added a new baby.
They,
Or Dill.
Timmy
Yeah,
and Dill. Yeah, I agree.
they added the babies like after 6 seasons, and it's like you waited this long to add new characters. And
well,
then,
they usually do that when the shows are getting stale. When no one's watching it, I bet their ratings were really plummeting.
it was stale even when they added the new characters.
Hey, but don't forget about what they did after.
Yeah, they made them all grow up,
Yep.
and that was even worse.
Did any of you actually watch that?
I did.
Sadly. You know what's even worse?
I didn't hate it either. That's the thing. I did not hate all of
I
it.
liked the first couple episodes, and then I
think-
realized, this is drama. I don't like this.
I also thought the theme song was catchy.
Oh,
I'll give you that.
I really want to shout it out.
Do you guys remember the Game Boy cartridges with like cartoons on them?
Oh God.
The what?
They had like 3. They had a Cartoon Network, a Sonic X, and Nickelodeon cartoons. And the Nickelodeon one had an episode of All Grown Up.
Oh yeah.
Never seen that.
But
And
yeah,
it wasn't even like the first episode.
Hello?
it wasn't even the first.
It wasn't the first episode. It was like one halfway through the season.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's weird.
I didn't care for the all grown up version.
Yeah. What else? What's another good cartoon from Nickelodeon? I mean, there's a bunch, but again, I can't remember. I mean, I guess we could talk about Hey Arnold if you guys want.
Yeah, we didn't get into Hey Arnold.
You didn't cover. Did you cover All Real Monsters or no?
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Oh,
No,
I
we,
was-
we talked about it.
Can I say one more thing about Rugrats?
Yeah.
During the Mother's Day special,
Oh, that's
the
the
first
really
thing
sad
you see,
episode.
like, there wasn't a part where it shows, what's her name, Dee Dee, or what's Phil and Lil's mom?
No, that's Betty.
Betty.
Right.
Yeah, it's a scene of them, of her breastfeeding them.
Oh.
That's
She
amazing.
was one of the weirder characters on Rugrats, I think. Betty. She was like,
Which one's Betty?
how do you even describe her? She was Phil and Lil's mom. She was like,
Phil and Lil's.
how do you describe what the fuck she was like?
The lesbian basketball coach.
There you go. That's actually extremely accurate.
No, I
was
can't
definitely going for
remember.
Lesbian something. So, Hey Arnold?
Yeah, let's do it.
Speaking of lesbian basketball coaches.
Can we just skip Hey Arnold and just forget that it ever existed?
No.
No.
I liked Hey Arnold I liked it.
Yeah,
I
everyone but you liked Hey Arnold. Greg.
I don't understand why though. Explain
Again,
explain to me why you guys were so interested in the show.
Okay.
Just give me just
What is
That
reason.
show-
It's supposed.
Was the Go ahead.
No, I was talking to myself. Go ahead.
So that show was the first show that gave me insight into what like school was like. Not really, because I was in like kindergarten or first grade. Watching that show made me feel like, oh man, middle schoolers and fifth graders. Oh, I'm gonna be just like this.
And then when you actually became them, you're
Character-
like never fucking that.
That show had 20 characters, and each one had their own personality, and you grew to know them.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, here's 3 main characters and the rest are just extras. Each character played a huge part in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a few extras, but at some point it seemed like almost everyone had, an episode for them.
Right. Kind of like Lost.
Yeah. Hey Arnold was basically Lost.
It was like Lost. There's a twist ending. You
That's
find
for
out
damn
they're
sure. I
dead
was lost throughout the
time.
entire time I was
Hey Arnold
watching the
was where he's
show.
supposed to go after his lost parents. It might have been more like
Yeah, you
Lost.
find out what his real last name is.
Which
Short
is
Man. I think that was actually confirmed. His last name is Short Man.
Short Man.
That's
That
why.
just is what Grandpa would call him.
Yeah, that's what Grandpa would always call him, and that was why, because his name was Arnold Short Man.
See, I want to think that was just they left it open It's open for interpretation. If you want to take it as that, whatever. If you think they never said it, okay, that's cool too.
Yeah,
It never appeared in canon, so it's whatever you want it to be.
a better last name would have been Football Head.
That's
Arnold Football Head.
But that would change Helga's character completely, because then all those times you thought she was making fun of him, she was just calling his last name.
It's whatever works.
You're like revolutionizing everything.
Well, sorry.
So,
One episode.
Arnold was another show with like a lot of memorable episodes.
I just found I found the show. Literally, I guess if you told anybody, you know, quick description of Hey Arnold, kids in the Bronx.
Okay, but it's also like
Kids in the Bronx and their adventures.
I feel like there's like a sort of '90s attitude to it that like you
I
don't-
can.
No, you know what
yeah,
had a
seeing a
90s
show
attitude to it? Rocket Power. That had a 90s attitude to it. Hey Arnold
Okay. That's
was
true.
you could have put Hey Arnold in any in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, and it would still be the same for anybody.
I can see why you don't like it, because I went back and watched it 2 months ago. I watched the first season, and I remembered all of the episodes as I was watching them, but I don't remember them being that slow. They were very slow paced.
They were sluggish.
I remember when they took the turtle out of the aquarium. I
was
remember
thinking
that
of
being
that
like
episode, too.
I remember that being like a big thing. Like that was a big action scene, but it was them.
Put it on like a skateboard and
They put it on a skateboard and pushed it, and then
That's
episode
it.
over.
That's all it was.
What about like I don't know, like I feel like it was a show with a lot of really like sort of like heartwarming moments to it. Like,
There was the episode where they got stuck downtown
and the strawberry
in the strawberry. I mean, I remember going back and watching that episode. It was impossible.
That episode was never that.
That was the first episode too.
Yeah, that was just whatever.
That show was more of like there's kind of a moral kind of thing to each episode. I mean, there was one where two like a music groups split up, and because of that, Arnold believed what one guy was saying, and Gerald believed what the other guy was saying. So they were fighting too. Then they eventually got back together, and then brought those two guys back together, and they wrote another song. It was like heartwarming.
It was how do I say? Yeah, it was a show that had a lot of like lessons in it, but they didn't really they weren't like really in your face. It was just sort of this general like, okay, here's a kid who's like really innocent and you know whatever, he's like a sort of like he's like a free thinker type kind of guy, and it's like he's growing up and he's just going through all this stuff and seeing like all these different ways people are having trouble or just like, you know, causing problems, and he's figuring out his way through them. Or even if it's not necessarily him, some character is growing up. Someone is facing their own problem, and you like learn how people deal with that. And that was pretty cool. There was like,
you know, that probably I guess that's probably a downfall for me, because I look back at all these cartoons and I didn't get any, you know, most of those cartoons that we talked about today, majority of them probably never had those moral stories, which is probably why they became more memorable to me, because I wasn't learning anything from it. It was kind of just a fun show to watch. But, you know, when it gets to a point where there's a moral behind it... What?
Harold wasn't really like... It wasn't like a cartoon that you watched because it was super hilarious. It was because you liked the characters.
Yeah, that show wasn't like Rocko's
Even
Modern
then,
Life or Rugrats.
It just felt very like real.
What situation they're in. It was like
Even then, I felt
stealing the problem.
I felt all the characters were stale. You had the typical black kid, the typical white kid, the girl who likes the white kid, and then you had the nerd, the typical nerd, the typical white nerd.
It was never noticed. Yeah, but it was still. You still liked every character. Maybe it's because you didn't grow up with it.
Yeah, it's definitely a show that's better if you grow up with it. But it's
and also,
definitely
that show was probably before that stage.
What the hell is that?
Mike.
What's up?
You typing over there?
I'm typing.
We can hear it.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't feel like the characters were that I don't think the word is typical. I think the word is believable. Like they just felt.
It shouldn't be believable. It's a cartoon. I don't want my stuff to be believable.
That's not how that works. It's called animation. You don't have to be zany.
I feel like probably a cartoon succeeds
here's
more
the
if it's
thing.
zanier.
Would you have liked it if this was a show with like real people who were these characters acting it out?
Acting it out, no.
No.
I think that would have made it worse. Like
I think that would, yeah, exactly. It would have made it much because it would have turned into a drama. It wouldn't be a cartoon. It would be a drama.
Degrassi.
Yeah, it would turn probably
But it's like I don't know. So why does now I'm trying to figure out like why does being a cartoon make it better? Like what is?
Because
Well, I guess the fact that you can't give them like the cartoony appearances.
Because there really isn't that thing called a drama cartoon.
Oh God! Think about someone with an actual football-shaped head.
Yeah, like they just hammered someone's head flat so that he can play the role of Arnold.
Yeah.
Arnold Shortman.
It's like
I don't know.
I don't know what to say because I'm looking at the view as like what you said. If they were actors, the entire show would be a drama. That's all. It felt like the jokes weren't there. The jokes weren't there. The acting felt they weren't into it. At least for the episodes I saw.
Yeah, how far did you get?
Because you're missing the whole point of like Eugene. That's all he was.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's like the jokes aren't in like especially wacky things that happen, but more like there are characters who things will always happen to.
Yeah, like the guy that Helga punches, or Eugene, who always gets
is clumsy as hell and he always gets hurt.
He's getting his own spin-off show, but they canceled it.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been good. There was
Would have been I'm okay every 5 minutes.
You'd have Harold, who was like the big fat Jewish kid, and he was the bully, but at the same time, like he was not a good bully. He would always he would get picked on, and he would
got hit, he would cry.
Yeah. Like, that was like he would actually like go running home crying mommy. Like that was an actual thing, even though he was the big bully. There was like I don't know. The more you watch, I think the better it gets.
I watched because I watched the first episode. I watched the second episode, the third one, and then I skipped a couple episodes and I started watching some random ones throughout the seasons. It felt
also. I think that's sorry. Just like I don't think it's even a thing where like you need to watch all of them like
in order. Yeah,
it's not like they have like a big continuity thing going on.
Yeah,
like, you could jump in at any point of the show and watch from. And like just watch the episodes in whatever order, and it's like, okay, yeah, I get these characters.
Well, I mean that's the same thing with any other cartoon.
Not necessarily. There are things that they have like a story to it. Friggin' Avatar: The Last Airbender or something.
We're not talking about those though. We're talking about 90's cartoons, simple cartoons that kids came home to after school and watched.
Did they have like story cartoons?
Angry Beavers didn't have it. Simpsons never had it. You would sit there.
Simpsons kinda had.
Simpsons did not have a story.
It's on like WB in the morning.
Yeah.
Like Pokemon.
Yeah. Pokemon had a story because
basically that was
Dragon Ball Z.
Any anime show.
If you wanted a story.
Exactly. If you wanted a story, you go to an anime show. If you just wanted to sit down and watch a cartoon, you picked American-made these 90's cartoons.
I mean, Courage the Cowardly Dog had references to previous episodes.
Right, no, but it wasn't like
who paid attention to those references?
But again, even with Hey Arnold, it wasn't like you didn't understand. Any episode, like, you don't need to know the characters that well to get what's going on. It's just sort of like, I don't know. It's kind
of like the same thing where with the argument with video games. Like, I don't want the game to be too realistic. There's a reason why I play video games, because I'm trying to get away from the realism and play more of a fantasy setting. Same thing with cartoons or any other, yeah, I can't say the same argument with like sitcoms, because sitcoms, they bring some of that reality there and they make fun of it. But things like cartoons.
It's not necessarily true that you just want to go into a fantasy world. Like sometimes you just haven't you ever had that thought like, what if I could just be like some other person for a day? Like that's all that needs to be. It can still be like everything else is the same. It's just you're someone else. That's all you need.
Hey Arnold was one of those characters that was like, I want to be like that kid, because he had his housing
I
situation
never
was
said
awesome.
that.
He had a bed that you could press a button, and it was
He
just
had
like,
him a
bam,
room
there's a
that,
bed.
that was actually shaped like him, and it was like a fucking potato clock. Like,
Yeah, I remember that.
he was just like a really...
He was a very free-spirited young lad.
Yeah. But in a not gay way.
Yeah.
He was a character. Like, that's it. Like, you'd think, like, if this was a real person, like, he would have been the coolest kid to hang out with.
No. Like, we could. I know we could continue talking about this constantly, but
Yeah, we can...
I'm
Then it would be the
sticking.
Mass Effect show.
I yeah, like fuck the Mac. That Matt. We'll talk about that later. Is there any other ones you guys want to mention? Quick ones.
Episodes or
No
shows?
Are we still on Nickelodeon?
We could. Now we're just open anything. What do you guys want to talk
okay.
about?
I think it would be an injustice if we don't talk about... or wait, did we already talk about it? Batman? I don't
No,
think
you
we
didn't.
were
No,
recording when we talked about it.
Yeah, it was like the pre-show. We were just going over what shows.
Yeah.
I personally didn't watch it, but when it comes to Batman costumes, that's my favorite, although I didn't watch the show.
Did not watch it as a kid.
Oh, wait.
I'm currently working through it now. Finished season 1. Very good stuff. I just
Wait, is that
did
the
not-
Batman where he's got like the red thing?
red thing?
The red like bat, and he's got the pointy ear things. Which Batman are we talking about?
The animated series? It's that one costume in like Arkham Asylum or Arkham City. I don't know what to. It's just like gray with some yellow.
Oh, never mind. Then no, I never watched that either. I was thinking of
You're thinking of Batman Beyond, aren't you?
that's it.
Oh. Batman Beyond.
yeah, I've never really watched any of the Batman cartoons.
I didn't.
be honest.
I did not watch. Well, I did watch Batman Beyond. I didn't watch the animated series as a kid because again, that was like not in a period where Batman was really that interesting of a thing. It was just very silly still. And the animated series was one of like the first things that kind of pushed it more into the serious, whatever. But yeah, Batman Beyond kind of watched it as a kid. I don't care for it at all right now.
Yeah, to me it was like, why watch a cartoon when I can watch the real thing? Because those movies were just, they had I think at that point they had a couple movies out, so I'd rather just watch the real thing.
Batman Beyond was like, I don't know, I guess as a kid I wouldn't have thought this, but like when I look back on it, I sort of see it as like,
Bat
you
credit
were trying
card.
way too hard to make it like hip with like a younger crowd. I wasn't in.
Bat
It
credit
was going for
card.
that anime type of style.
Yeah, it didn't.
Bat credit card.
Bat credit card, yeah.
It even came on with like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh in the morning
Right.
on WB.
Yeah, I never watched a cartoon.
Did any of you watch the Disney stuff or no?
Not me. Never liked it.
I remember some cartoons like the Goof Troop and
Tailspin and DuckTales I found were really good shows. And also Gargoyles. Gargoyles is another really good one. that I
Gargoyles.
watched.
I didn't know that was a Disney show.
That was Disney?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But I had the board game. I was Goliath for Halloween. I loved everything about Gargoyles.
Gargoyles was the shit.
Yeah, it was cool. I can't really remember a thing of it now. I just know it was cool.
Yeah.
I can't really remember most of the Disney cartoons because a lot of them back in the day were catered towards like the 5-year-olds and under. It was all about learning and stuff like that.
No, but I mean
never-
Tailspin, DuckTales, Gargoyles.
See, I never watched Tailspin. I
Tailspin
never
was
really
pretty
liked
sick.
Disney characters. Like the Pixar movies, yeah, but I never liked Mickey or Goofy or anything like that.
Get out.
I didn't know Disney had a channel until I was in like 6th grade and I found That's So Raven.
That's sort of the downfall of Disney.
That was
by the way.
yeah. That's a downfall
That's
for any network when they start
That's
bringing
sort of
in.
the downfall of the Disney Channel.
Nickelodeon did the same thing. Cartoon Network did the same thing. They brought in like reality shows which real people acting. And
You mean live action?
Yeah.
Yeah, for a network that has cartoon in it, you expect it to be nothing but cartoons.
My favorite thing about the
Cartoon
Disney
Network
Channel
is good.
was that every night at 8 o'clock they would play a movie, and it was like a Disney original. And those were usually pretty good, but then after watching them for a month, you had seen every single thing they had made.
Yeah.
Holes, yeah.
Dig it out.
One show I kind of want to talk about. It came out 2 years after 1999, but it was a show that I watched because I was recommended it a lot. Invader Zim.
Yeah, that's okay.
That-
Here's the thing with Invader Zim. Everyone says that like when it was on, no one cared about it. Then it got taken off and it became like a cult hit somehow.
Yeah.
And people think that it's like, everyone who likes it now is just sort of like, they didn't give a shit about it when it was on. They just sort of bandwagoned onto it. I liked it when it was on. I loved Invader Zim.
Yeah, it's the fans now that have me hating that show. But when I watched it, I liked it. I didn't love it like
I loved it.
other Nickelodeon shows, but I found Grr funny before it was like a meme.
Right.
And the Doom song. And the art style kind of turned me off to it.
Oh, I
guess.
thought the art style was just, it was simple, but it also, I felt it was really unique as well.
Yeah. I thought it was actually really cool. It was just sort of like a very dark sort of thing.
Yeah.
I didn't
It
really
seemed like the
the
more darker
stories.
cartoons.
That was another thing.
Nickelodeon had Invader Zim, Disney had Gargoyles, and Cartoon
I think
Network had Courage Cowardly Dog.
My favorite Invader Zim episode is the one where they both turn into sausages. It was like they had like some weird sort of like prank war thing going, where I think it was Dib versus Zim, and then I guess Dib got Zim to sit on like a tack or something.
Yeah.
So then Zim does it back to him, except his tack injects like sausage DNA into Dib, and he is slowly like dogs start following him around, and then his like body is getting rounder.
Didn't he start seeing everything as meat? Or is
I
that
think that's a
is that
different
something
episode.
else?
I think
Okay.
that was a different episode. But and then to force Zim to like make a cure for this, he gets him back with it. Like he puts the thing on his hand and tricks him to like shake his hand. And I just remember the reason I love that episode so much. There's one scene near the end where like they're still trying to figure out how to cure themselves, and they've kind of like almost given up. His sister Gaz, who's like fucking best character, because she was just the one who doesn't give a shit, and she was like invincible.
Basically Mandy from Billy and
Yeah,
Mandy.
she was. I think she was Mandy before Mandy, basically.
Yeah.
She just walks by like out of like the friggin' kitchen or something while they're sitting on the couch, and she just grabs a chunk of her brother's head and eats it without like skipping a beat. She
Yeah,
just does
I
it.
think that's it.
Like there was no reason for her to even know that he was a sausage, just other than the fact that like he kind of like smelled like meat. Like everyone noticed that he smelled like meat.
Yeah.
It was like just goes for it, and she leaves, and that's it. There isn't a word said.
That's comedic genius right there.
I loved it. And
Just kind of
that's
like
why
out of the
Invader Zim-
top, like out of nowhere, sort of.
And a show like Invader Zim, it was the humor was usually very zany and over the top and animated, and like this was just like a very deadpan moment, and it was a good contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another cartoon I never watched.
Oh, fuck.
It's one of the ones I guess if you're like 30 or 40, you could go back and watch it. Unlike a show
As long
like
as you
Hey
ignore
Arnold.
the fan base that it has at this point.
Yeah. Just ignore the fan base. I have a friend who's obsessed with Invader Zim, and I asked her, I'm like, did you ever watch the show when it was on air? He's like, I never had the chance to. I'm like, really? You never had the chance to when you were like 12 or something like that?
Just avoid all anime conventions.
Oh God! I went on YouTube to go look at like an anime con. I can't. There's one thing I can't stand in the world is cosplayers.
Oh yeah.
There's no fucking reason for you to dress up as someone. No fucking reason.
It's like Halloween, but every day.
Oh my god.
I have a friend who's obsessed with cosplaying, and so she's on Facebook. I think next week I'm gonna go cosplay as this person from Final Fantasy. I'm like,
I've got a couple of those
no.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
I've been to anime conventions. I've been to multiple anime conventions, but it's always to meet the people from this forum. Like, I'm really close friends with some of these people, and I see them, once every 3 months, and we go there just because it gives us a reason to hang out. And we usually just go there and just kind of laugh at people. Not being mean sometimes, but we just...
I've never...
kind of, enjoy watching these people.
Never met one person from the forums.
That's why I go to conventions too. Like, I go with a group of friends, and then I just look at what's going on. Like, that's ridiculous. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you doing that. Stop
Never.
That.
I talk to them like they're dogs or something.
I don't say it to their face, but I think it.
I feel like if I ever met someone from the forums, it would ruin everything that we had.
Oh, okay.
That sounds gay.
But that's just me.
Everything we had.
That sounds gay.
Everything we had.
I could see how it would be awkward if you only talked to them on the forums, but these people I've talked to on Skype for like 3 years.
Exactly.
So meeting them is just like meeting any other friend.
Like me meeting Strike and me wanting to punch him in the face. It's like it wouldn't work out.
Face even over Skype.
I think he would punch you in the face first.
Really?
I think.
Oh no! You know why? Because you wouldn't be able to find his face.
This is true.
You wouldn't know what he looks like, so he has the upper hand.
Yep.
He does. Strike's the kind of guy who he wouldn't hurt a fly, but then if you kicked him off in real life to the point, he'd probably punch you in the nuts.
The best chance you have is to just like in like the middle of the convention, just yell out "Strike!" and then see who turns around and go for it. They might be cosplaying as a character named Strike, but it's worth the risk.
Have it on a shirt with his forum name and avatar.
Can we do that? Can we go
walk around Florida with like a...
See if we can find
our
each other.
phones.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do at PAX. I'm going to wear a shirt with my forum name and my avatar and see if anyone recognizes me.
Let's just...
Like,
no.
profile info on the back.
Let's just get the entire community together and go to Florida and go find him.
Oh, all right.
Oh, that'd be nice. That would be a nice field trip.
I think Greg should wear a shirt with Sith Symbiosis'
All right,
avatar on its thing.
All right, so start up a Kickstarter for the let's go punch Strike in the face.
Yep. Okay.
You guys can have fun with that.
We'll get Tim Schafer involved.
Yep.
Yeah.
He
He really wants to get Strike.
Yeah. Ever since Psychonauts, he's hated Strike Blade.
He has a punching bag with a big question mark on it, and he's like, "Fuck you, Strike." Anyways, I guess we're pretty much done with this.
You forgot the Ninja Turtles. Oh my god, you suck so bad.
I have nothing bad to say about the Ninja Turtles because I actually like the Ninja Turtles. At least I had something bad about one, couple.
We're doing a 90's cartoon show, and you forget the most important cartoon of the 90's.
Okay, fine. Let's talk about how hot April O'Neil...
Honestly, you didn't watch Little Bear.
Let's talk about how hot April O'Neil was in that
remember
yellow
when
jumpsuit.
Little Bear got the mumps? Holy shit, that was hardcore.
Greg was too busy watching Teletubbies to care about the Ninja Turtles.
Dude, okay, describe a single episode of Ninja Turtles, because I can't remember the fucking show.
I guess one of my more memorable ones when they fought the robotic dinosaur thingies.
In the sewer?
The what?
The little robot things in the sewer?
Yeah.
They're like little Tyrannosaurus Rex.
That's my most memorable
whatever
episode.
They're called.
They look like Cho'Gath from League of Legends, if anyone plays that.
Nope.
Nope.
All right. Canceled.
Just leave.
Podcast canceled.
Yep.
No, it's not canceled. I know.
Well, if we're not gonna...
They had the most memorable side villains like Rat King and...
Who?
Metalhead. You don't remember the Rat King?
Who?
Who the Rat King is? He was the dude.
I actually don't, but that's because I was never that into Ninja Turtles.
He was the dude who lived in the sewer.
Wasn't that like
All
half
the
the
rats.
characters?
Huh?
Wasn't that half the characters on that show?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it was just the Turtles, Splinter, and the Rat King. Well, you had Shredder and his band of misfits.
Yeah, so that's like half the characters.
Yeah. But then you had all the side characters. But Greg doesn't want to talk about it because he was too busy watching.
I was more into looking at April O'Neil in her hot yellow jumpsuit.
Uh-huh.
And how many fantasies I've had with that.
I'm sure.
Does she keep the jumpsuit on or take it off?
It depends on what day it is.
Depends if Pearl Street's in the neighborhood.
Depends if he can open his window all the way.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Alright, so, is that the last show we're gonna
I guess.
talk about? Well, what about, like, to end it though, like a general...
Oh, we
what is
we
that-
forgot.
Hit the deck.
Struck, Pearl.
Hit the deck.
We forgot about Doug.
That's your fault.
That shitty show. That's the shitty show no one cares about. Okay, thank you everybody for joining us for the Arc of Wrestling podcast.
I just want to say about Doug, I do not want to go back and watch it because the memories I have were, oh, this is a nice show, but I know if I go back and watch it now,
It'll be
I'm going to
boring.
be so bored.
Yeah.
It was a boring show.
Yeah.
I don't care what you think. It was a boring show.
It's
Nothing
weird, 'cause even for a
happened.
kid who
Nothing
has no,
fucking mattered.
who has no attention span, they can pay attention to Doug.
Nothing.
It's because they got, like, pretty colors.
Boring.
Yeah.
We're gonna
You
get
got
some
the girl named Patty Mayonnaise. Why wouldn't you watch?
and Skeeter.
Yeah. Get it?
I fucking hated that.
Skeeter.
I hate Doug more than I hate Hey Arnold. Because the sole reason, at least Hey Arnold, I guess, you know, you had a fucking kid with a football-shaped head. Fine. I'll give you that.
Well, Doug?
Doug?
Had a big old bunker.
Doug, it was just the same fucking character with different colors of skin.
You racist.
He had a dog.
Fuck the dog.
And a
It
sister.
was like a hippie
Yeah.
artsy type. That was cool.
I fucking hate that show.
I bet she would like Skrillex now.
My
I bet she
God.
would like Invader Zim.
I bet she would like Ed, Ed, and Eddy.
No.
I'm sorry. I just killed.
That's not how that joke works. Podcast.
All right, thanks for listening to the Culture Shock.
Hey, I'm the one who ends it, motherfucker. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Arc. What? How about to say Arc of Wrestling?
All right, no. Now we have to keep going. Okay.
Thank you for
Before we end it, I just like one final thing. Can we define, like, make like some definitive statement? Just what sets the '90s cartoons apart from other cartoons?
They were good.
All right.
There you go.
Thanks for watching or listening, whichever.
You want to know why? It's because there was more of us in the 90s than there are now.
What?
We rule this world.
Oh, no. So everybody, all the kids died off, and that's why there's more of us. back then.
Everyone from the 80s is dead.
No,
And everyone
because
from-
the baby boomer generation, their kids were having kids. Whoops. Their kids
It's a tech.
were having kids, which was us. Well, I guess it depends on where your parents are. My parents were fucking old when they had me. But
Gross.
Old people say.
they were 40. Right now they're 68, and
They're 110.
they had me when they were in their early 50s. No. I mean,
So you're 10?
late 40s.
Jesus.
Why are you hosting this if you're 10?
And then their late 40s. I think my mom was 45 and my dad was 49. I believe
That's weird.
so. Yeah, they were going
That's weird 'cause
old.
my parents just turned that age not too long ago.
And then when I turned like 10, they were already in their late 50s.
I have an older brother who's like 32 now, so that's all you need to know to
When he
figure
turned-
out how old my parents might be.
When he turned.
Yeah, but you're Asian, so they pop them out like every month.
That's no.
I thought you were Filipino, PJunk.
I am.
Yeah.
That's an Asian.
That's an Asian.
You're like
I'm like a cough.
You're like a half-blood.
Prince.
So do you worship Pacquiao's like every movement?
No, I'm not one of those faggots.
Oh.
My parents are though.
You just watched My Little
You
Pony.
just
and
called
made
your
homeless
parents faggots.
Yeah. I'm the kind of faggot who finds my own things, that not like everything that every other Filipino is into.
It's okay. His parents will listen to this show, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Oh, but man, if I find out a Filipino works on My Little Pony, oh god.
What was that?
I'm kind of scared.
That's how my people orgasm. You wouldn't.
So
That's
you
how it
sound
happens in my home island.
so you sound like they're gargling water.
Well, yeah, because we're an island people. That's
Just
how
look
we
out
do
for the
it.
newest My Little Pony character, low man.
Isn't it true? Like in the next 100-something years, the Philippines is gonna be like flooded.
Hopefully.
Sure.
Like the islands would be like non-existent.
Wow.
I'm just saying, I've always wanted a big pool.
No, Jesse, I don't think you flood an island and get a pool. I think you get a bigger ocean.
No, you get a show called Lost.
What's that show about?
Season 4, spoilers, sorry.
I never watched Lost,
I watched it
and I don't
twice.
plan on watching it.
How do you watch it twice? How many?
You sit down on Netflix for like 140 hours at a time.
Oh, so it's like reading Homestuck. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Except I don't reread it because I'm not stupid.
I haven't heard from GodofNerdiness throughout this entire
Are we still
episode.
recording?
He's he's animating everything as we go.
It's quiet.
Do you have any thoughts, God of Nerdiness?
Do you have any thoughts, God?
Do you think?
Does God think? These are the important questions of the Culture Shock podcast.
Does he think? Well, depends on where you stand in religion.
His picture is up on the top on Skype, so he must have made some noise.
What?
Yep.
Alright, thank you for listening to the Culture.
I guess I watched this funny show. I mean, it was a documentary from Bill Maher on religion. It's on Netflix. You should watch it. It's really good.
Okay. I'll do that. I don't have Netflix, but okay.
And by the way, we do not support the Philippines seeking to make a big pool.
I do.
I do.
Well,
The
you
Culture
don't.
Shock podcast
Started
supports
chipping.
all of
there's
Asia
anything I
being
really care about
underwater.
over
We'll
there.
start a
Now, so-
Kickstarter to fund flooding of Filipino islands.
We're gonna get a lot of suntan cream.
Oh man.
Ever since Psychonauts has had a thing against the Philippines.
Strike is over in the Philippines right now. Didn't you know that? Oh, dude, if Strike is Filipino, that would change everything.
Even
Well,
though
then we
he's
flood him out.
like apparently probably a fat white guy. I mean, he does live in the South. I mean, it's Florida.
This is on the forums.
Yeah.
He lives on the panhandle of Florida, aka the last bit of the South. So
Yeah, like the fishies.
yeah.
Coming in the bayou.
Fucking the fishies.
He
Okay,
lives in Chicago now.
he does.
Yeah, he moved early this year, late last year.
Oh, you know, the people who are probably listening to this that aren't part of the forums would probably have no idea what we're talking about. So thank you everybody for watching. This is going up on the Arc of Wrestling channel for a while until I probably have the patience to create
People listen to
another.
Arc of Wrestling.
Actually, yes. We
They're all
actually
Filipino. So.
we actually have we actually have a nice number of people who listen to the Arc of Wrestling. So fuck
and
you.
And they're not on the forum, so who cares what they think?
Yeah.
I'm
Get an
sorry that
opinion.
they don't have anything better to do.
So thank you everybody for joining us for the 4th episode of Culture Shock Podcast. If you want to join an episode, go over to 4playerpodcast.com/forums under the general section. Look for the Culture Shock Podcast and sign up for a show. Also give us suggestions. We would love to hear more suggestions from people as we continue going on with the season. I just call this a season.
There's a season.
There'll be different seasons. So
This is book 1 air.
Volume 1, Chapter 4.
so
Version 1.
Yeah, thank you,
by
everybody.
the way, if you guys want to support the Philippines being hit by a tsunami, contact Rackmaster on Skype. He will start the funding.
He'll put my email in the description of this video.
Yeah.
Rate, comment, subscribe.
Kickstarter.com/FloodTheFilipinos.
/Tim Schaefer.
Yeah, so thank you, everybody, and let's go flood the Philippines. Bye. Woo!